We back in this hoe. We back in this hoe. We back in this hoe.
Mama got me fucked up, my mama got me fucked up, my little nigga locked up, it's like a kumatata, never like sci-fi, empathetic Wi-Fi, keep it in the back room.
Brockhampton. Ginger came out like a few weeks ago. Wanted to have this out sooner, but you know, never mind. I like Brockhampton, I've covered them like 12 trillion times on this channel. Been following them for a while. They're a boy band consisting of many rappers, singers, and performers, and producers, and people. They are responsible for the now infamous, Saturation Trilogy. Yo, Amy, you were not lying. This hemp tea. That Saturation Trilogy was quite the movement, and it turned a lot of heads. And then right after that, they came out in early 2018. One of the founding members turned out to be a dick. Amir Van, the man who's actually pictured on all 3 of the Saturation album covers. Yeah, they kicked him out because of some allegations regarding sexual abuse. And again, he's one of the core members. You know, the connection with that man runs quite deep, so I can imagine that was quite an emotional blow for the group. And yeah, they released Iridescence that year. That was last year, 2018. Iridescence is my personal favorite Brockhampton album. I love how agitated and chaotic it is, but I also love how it's very deeply rooted in beauty, in humanity. It feels every bit as human as it does alien. I approved big. I thought that was fucking awesome. And here we have Ginger, which I also think kind of feels like a pretty logical follow-up to what Iridescence kind of sort of stands for in the discography. This is the album to where they kind of fight for that sense of communion that they maybe once had, and they're sort of searching for clarity. And I do appreciate the more bold and mature direction. You know, you gotta think, like, at this point, it would be like it would be completely effortless to crank out another fucking Saturation album filled with a bunch of bangers and singles. The fact that they kind of ignored that demand and sort of got all of this off their chest on this album is something I do greatly appreciate and applaud them for. I could definitely see this album connecting with a Brockhampton fan on a deeper level than any of the other ones have so far. You know, the problem I have with it is that I think as a listening experience, this thing is frustratingly inconsistent, and a lot of the songs kind of pull away from what I feel like the impact of other songs is supposed to be. Whether that be because of the way it's paced, the way this album flows, there are just certain songs here that I just can't for the life of me think why they are here and what they contribute towards the overall sort of messages and themes of this project. If You Pray Right, I've Been Born Again, Saint Percy, Love Me for Life. The fuck are these songs doing on the sound? Like, I've Been Born Again just kind of sounds like the group on autopilot. None of the lines or paragraphs on this track connect to the previous one. It's just such a messy track. I guess I appreciate the fact that it's just kind of raw and just like, it kind of sounds like they're freestyling, and maybe it's supposed to act as sort of like a bit of a palate cleanser after the song Dearly Departed, but I just question what the point in having it here was. I feel like they've made a million songs just like it. If You Pray Right, I've come to the conclusion that I think the tuba on that track is a bit shit. It's a bit of an annoying thing to loop throughout your entire song. I just get really sick of it, and it just buries the track. The instrumental just gets completely filled by it, and it's just such a harsh thing to hear. So yeah, that tuba in the beat. Nah. Love Me for Life, what? That song is just abominable. The beat just sounds empty. Kevin's like lethargic, really tired delivery at the start is boring as hell. And then Job's bit is just annoying. The way he's like, oh, nah, bro. That shit is grating. Grating, I say. And then you got Merlin's bit that just comes out of fucking nowhere and just clashes with everything the song was already doing. That track is so annoying. I really cannot fuck. That's probably my least favorite Brockhampton song. I find this album just a really awkward up and down hill that it's constantly contradicting what I feel like it's trying to be a lot of the time. However, there are definitely tracks on this album that I think are stunning. The opening song is one of the best tracks I think they've ever made. That track is fucking great. Every verse on that thing cuts pretty fucking deep. Matt's verse is sort of talking about his house getting repossessed after a pretty devastating breakup. And then you have Job's verse, which is about sort of chasing God after realizing how fucked drugs have sort of made you. Merlin just sounds really confused on where his life is headed. And then you have Dom, which I love the way he incorporated those references to like weaving and stitching. You really get a good picture of how depression has sort of weighed him down on this track and made him feel genuinely really stuck. And this track in general just seems to be about just kind of being completely lost and where to go next, but just having hope that with enough faith you will find your way. And I think that's a really beautiful way to kick things off on this album. And the second track, Sugar, is similarly very sentimental, though in a bit more of a poppy sense. This track is one of the most accessible things they've ever made, and I absolutely love the chorus of this track. And I think Dom's verse is pretty dope as well. I just wish there wasn't any effects on his voice, but the effect on Dom's voice is horrible. Why the fuck is that? Almost all the vocal effects on this track are just fucking really ugly. The only things I like about this track is the chorus, and I love that part during Kevin's bit when he's like, I only got parking in my passport, passport. Because there's like another voice that joins him at the end of that bit, and it's like really beautiful. But overall, that track, I find it pretty forgettable in the grand scheme of it. I don't really see why a lot of people are really hyping up Sugar like that, and I think it's cool, but I don't really see it as like this like amazing, stunning moment. St. Percy is the track that has the most attitude on the album, but it just feels really filler and really out of the blue to me. But I still do kind of enjoy the song for just how kind of skeletal and cold-blooded it is. I think the verses are really sick. I just like the way they're performing on the song, like Matt. I just love his like little like, circus. Ole, ole, ole. And Dom is rapping like fucking Ski Master Slump God. And Bareface sounds evil as shit. Like this track, I just dig how cold-blooded it is, but it just comes at a very awkward point in the record. I just don't really think it does much for the album's flow. In the second half is where we get most of the album's more confessional tracks, Dearly Departed being a seriously chilling song to me. I think this track is stellar. The instrumental on this track kind of sounds like a spotlight is being like lit on the individual members as they're performing. It's like this is their moment to sort of get everything off their chest, and that's exactly what you get on this track. Like, I love how Kevin and Matt sort of deliver their verses almost like they're fucking slam poetry or something. There's not really much of a consistent flow or rhythm to the way they're just kind of getting shit off, and it's really cathartic, honestly. But Dom definitely steals the show. He's talking, I think he's talking directly to Amir, and he's angry. He's so furious on this track. At that part at the end, when he's like, I don't want to, you can talk to God, I don't want to hear, like, he's done being there for him. He's like, yeah, you're done, like, I don't want anything to do with you. He just drops the mic. It's fucking chilling. And the songs Ginger and Big Boy really nicely kind of continue that more somber, melancholic sentiment. I love the beat on Big Boy. That beat is so damn atmospheric, and Joba's verse on that track is so fucking powerful. Those are two tracks on this album that are kind of growers. Like, they're not very instantaneous or immediate like that, but if you sit with this record, there's a good chance they'll kind of warm up to you, and they've become two of my favorites on this album. And then you have the final track of Victor Roberts, which I think is glorious. I think that's a great ending track. The verse from Victor Roberts on this track, I guess is like a friend of the group who has a pretty moving story to tell on this song about the police arresting his parents for drug usage and him kind of witnessing the whole thing. And you really get a good picture of how much that's shaken him up on the way he's performing on this track, and the way that transitions into Kevin's godly fucking hook on this track. Thank God that I'm built for the distance. Thank God for me. I love that shit so much. So yeah, there are definitely really strong moments on this album for sure. Like this shit is, it's definitely a bold, mature move. But when you got tracks like If You Pray Right that just annoy the fuck out of me, Love Me for Life, just completely conflicting with like all the really beautiful themes on this record, it becomes a very jumbled and frustrating album. And then you got the Slow Tie track, which, bro, that track's not even worth mentioning. That track offers nothing. Bro, he's saying like, there's a war in my head like the Middle East. Bro, come on. He just delivers a really lame flow over the beat that was on the song If You Pray Right, but now without the annoying tuba, which makes it sound like infinitely better. So it's like, bro, could you just remove the tuba? Because without it, the beat genuinely works better. Yeah, that Slow Tie track was fucking weird. But yeah, overall, I do really respect this record, and it makes me definitely conscious of the fact that Brockhampton know where their place is at any given moment. They know how to bounce off of the last record. They kind of know how to logically progress musically, which makes me excited to hear what will come next. This album didn't fully click with me like that. It has got some great moments on it, but the full project is frustrating for me, although it is definitely very respectable, and I think an important one that will definitely shape the future of the group, and I think will resonate with people more over time. I can see this thing aging pretty well with fans. I'm gonna go 6. I'm going 6 out of 10. I definitely thought it was good. It just has so many moments that just make me scratch my head. And yeah, that kind of weighs it down a lot for me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Ginger by Brockhampton. Thank you so much for watching this review, bro. Bye!